The Tour de France, the greatest physical challenge known to mankind. 3,500 kilometers over 24 days of unimaginable pain. I'm talking concussions, broken bones, and even death. Unfortunately, I was never invited to this. That's crazy. So I decided to join the next best thing. This 122-kilometer race is Australia's biggest cycling competition, and I was there to win on a barbie bike. Oh shit. Now, why would anyone ride 122 kilometers on a bike made for 6-year-olds?
Everything hurts. I'm cold. I think it's about to start to rain.
Well, let's go back to the beginning, where the story starts with a happier, more naive Stanley sitting behind his laptop.
Cycling. Let's talk about it. As you can probably tell, I go to the gym. God, that was so wanker. The thing I most definitely stay away from as much as possible is the cardio machine. Now, you've probably seen lots and lots of YouTubers running marathons in really strange footwear. It's been done hundreds and hundreds of times, and frankly, it's getting quite boring. So I want to turn it up a notch. And I think I've just discovered how I can do that. The Shimano Spring Series, a brutal 8-lap, 3-kilometer circuit, which I should add, consists of the entire state's best cyclists, and soon to be this guy. There's a registration form and a payment, and I think they're essentially just saying nobody in anything but a normal bike would be stupid enough to sign up for this. They haven't put in contingencies for professional idiots like me. There are some rules. Handlebars shall be of a standard or classic type, obviously. Wheels must have at least 16 spokes. As a spokesman myself, I've been saying this for years. And bicycles should have at least 2 efficient and independent handbrakes, which I'd hope any bike would have anyway. The only thing that does concern me though is that there is an equipment inspection station where 100 meters from the start line, they'll be measuring and inspecting each rider's bicycle, helmet, and clothing. But at that point, I could probably just mix in with all the other cyclists and be gone. I just need to adhere to the rules and pay my money to enter. I think I'm going to be competing in a professional cycling competition on a Barbie bike.
With registrations completed, it was time to find myself a bike. So I went to the nearest toy store I could find and went looking for a bike that was not only fit for Barbie's biggest fan, but also ideally fit for destroying the competition.
Cellulite Barbie?
Actually?
No, there's no cellulite Barbie. Oh my god, there's a Sonic bike too. First, gotta get ourselves a Barbie helmet. Dude, it's huge. Oh. Bingo. I feel like everyone who's carrying a Barbie bike over the age of 18 should get ID'd. Oh.
Please wait. We verify your badge.
Thank you.
Equipment in hand, the plan was simple. I was going to attempt to finish this 3-kilometer circuit 8 times, surrounded by national champions and serious athletes. I had my bike and people were already cheering me on. So all we had to do was march my way to the start line and start cycling. Pretty easy, right? Well, not quite.
We've missed the start.
We're finished.
What if I just did the course?
No, you can't. Do you have a race license? But you can't go on the course on that. It's totally unsafe. It's extremely unsafe. You're not moving.
Exactly.
And I was right. I should have kept my mouth shut because not only did we get kicked off, we weren't even let in. Sadly, it wasn't meant to be, and without any competition in sight for weeks, all we could do was wait. Okay, so I've just been told that there is a cycling competition in Melbourne tomorrow. I have to get to the airport as soon as possible. My flight from Melbourne was in less than 2 hours. But before I could leave for the airport, there was still one very crucial thing I needed to bring: the Barbie bike. Within hours of getting the green light, I was on my way to the airport. Got a cycling competition in Melbourne. I'm doing the whole thing on a kid-sized Barbie bike.
Cycling?
And I was soon up in the air, on my way to Australia's capital for cycling, Melbourne. Rich with cycling history and competitors who were keen to leave me in their dust, I was even less confident for this race because the race I was told about was 122 kilometers long, with almost 2,000 meters of elevation and 2 literal mountains to overcome. I touched down by myself the day before the competition, Melbourne, baby. Setting up the Barbie bike and picking up my cameraman at midnight, ready for a 4 a.m. start the next morning.
Yeah. Now we have to be awake. 4 hours. Fuck,
Morning came around and a couple of last minute adjustments needed to be made.
I'm trying to tighten the bike so I don't die.
What I had forgotten to do the day before whilst building the bike was to tighten the handles so that the wheels would turn when the handles would turn.
Fuck, dude. Tight. No, it's not tightening. Oh, wait, okay, it works.
But with that out of the way, it was finally time to cycle.
I must look like an absolute muppet.
So it's 6 a.m. Way too early for anyone to be awake. And it's especially way too early for someone who's about to do 122 k's on a fucking Barbie bike.
6 a.m. came around and cyclists were starting to come out of their homes to size up their newest competitor.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks. It's a beautiful bike. Nice. Yeah, any tips for me? It's easier to carry the bike than it is to ride it. Yeah, it'll do. Couldn't find one my size, so I just settled for this one. How many gears is your bike?
And after speaking to some real professionals who clearly did not like my chances, I was onto the track. There wasn't much time left, but group after group disappeared off into the distance.
I have 122 kilometers to go, and 7.5 hours.
Just hold back.
Seriously.
If you're in the green group, it's the yellow. 3, 2, 1.
We were away, but fate wasn't going to let me have it easy, because I very quickly encountered my first problem.
Oh shit! Oh no!
10 seconds in, I had broken my seat, which meant I would have to go the entire day without the ability to rest my bottom. This was all a stark reminder that this wasn't going to be easy, and I could very well be kicked out of the race by the officials.
This is going to be miserable. I'm already done. I'm done. I'm in so much pain already.
And the pain wasn't the only problem. It had taken 20 minutes to even get to the bottom of the first hill. And at that pace, we would never make it to the finish line in time. Not to mention, it was almost impossible to pedal up inclines of any kind.
Oh, hills are a nightmare. Oh. I think it's faster to walk up this hill than it is to cycle. From the start to the bottom of this hill, it's something like 700 meters. So I think I've only done about 700 meters.
And one look at the topography of the cycle told me I was not in for a good time.
The only thing rounder than these wheels right now is my back. Oh, you're running faster than I'm walking.
Long way to go.
Yeah. I think 120 k's still.
On that?
Yeah. Might as well run with you.
I was slowly making progress. Meter after meter, I marched on upwards until I reached the halfway point of the first hill. And I knew that was the halfway point because that's where they started officially timing people.
Oh my god, that's the start line. Oh, this is a joke. No.
Which meant I technically hadn't even started the race. That didn't bother me. I needed to fight this war of attrition by becoming a plotter and not a trotter. Step after step, the hill was slowly being conquered and I was beginning to make good progress.
The seat's broken. My back's broken. My spirit's broken. Everything's broken. The wheels are so flat that they keep stopping.
I was eating up ground like Aussie battlers in the good old days. I could see why people were big fans of this race. The glorious mountains and the endless Indian Ocean stretched further than the eye could see, and it was indeed beautiful. But there wasn't any time to admire the view because more bad news was coming my way.
If you don't get to Dean's Marsh by 9:30, they're not going to let you keep going. Basically an hour to do 20 k's. You're going to be able to do 20 k's an hour on that thing?
Probably not.
Dean's Marsh was more than 15 kilometers away and I was running out of time. All I could do was keep going until I was inevitably kicked off the course, and so I plowed on.
How are you feeling?
I just don't see a point in still going. If we get all the way to the top anyway, we're going to have to go all the way back down. I don't want to finish here, but I still want to go back and finish the race in some way. I'm not done. I'm not done.
That was it. After everything I'd gone through to get here, I'd failed. Or so I thought. I might not have been able to complete the 122 kilometers, but I would do everything in my power to finish the race, even if it meant a little shortcut.
I'm not done. I'm not done. Ah!
Instead of completing the original 122-kilometer circuit, I was going to do this smaller 40-kilometer route out of concern for my own safety.
At this point, my tires are pretty much gone. The fact that I'm still moving is a miracle. Oh my god. My handlebar's getting so loose that it's not even aligned with the wheel anymore.
As I turned around, all of our uphill work was starting to pay off, because the remainder of the journey was pretty much all downhill, and I was flying.
Alright, now we're moving.
Our new route meant that we would have 20 kilometers left to cycle, and within 2 hours, 10 kilometers had already come and gone.
Oh, my brakes have stopped working. My brakes have stopped working. Luckily, I don't need brakes. Because if I want to stop, I just put all my pressure on the front tire. And because it's so flat, it just doesn't move. So, problem solved.
With only 4 hours left, I had one final straight along the beautiful coast of Australia, which was the only thing standing between me and successfully completing a cycling competition. The hours of lonely cycling finally came to an end when I rejoined the main road.
We're about 10 kilometers out, and there's 4 hours left. It means I have to do 2.5 kilometers for the next 4 hours. Everything hurts. I'm cold. My calves keep cramping, but we can do it. Let's do this. I just banged my knee.
The cheers of my competitors gave me a second wind as I conquered the final hill of the course, but I wasn't done yet.
I think that's the final uphill. Done. I feel like a hot rod's been shoved right up my arm.
And after 9.5 hours of cycling, we were on to our final kilometer.
1 kilometer left, baby! Ah!
As I entered the final kilometer, my mind was racing and I couldn't help but think about everything I'd achieved. From overcoming rejection,
You can't go on the course on that. It's totally unsafe.
to plowing through the adversity,
Oh! No!
If you don't get to Dean's Musk by 9:30, they're not going to let you keep going.
and ultimately believing in myself when nobody else would.
Finish line is just over that hill. My legs are about to fall off, and I never want to do this ever again. Holy shit. Let's do this. Let's fucking go. Ah! I'm going. I see the finish line. I see the finish line.
I had done it. I had finished Australia's biggest cycling competition on a bicycle made for 6-year-olds.
Alright, I'm out of here. I'm done.